Good afternoon, all of you. Now, what we'll be doing is that we'll be understanding functions in Python. Okay. During the workshop, I've already given you an introduction to functions, but now we'll be seeing some more details about functions. We have two types of functions. One is called as built-in functions, and the other one is called as user-defined functions. It is not called as, basically, it is not a definition or something like that. See, when we define a function, we call it as user-defined function, and where there is a function that is already there inside the Python, you just need to call and use it, you call it as built-in functions, that's all. Okay, there are infinite number of built-in functions in Python. We can use whatever is required, whenever is required. For example, first one is, see, round 3.141 to 2 digits means what we'll get? We'll get 3.14. Okay, let me check, let me show you that. Say I am using this round function. Round is a built-in function. Okay, round function to round a decimal 5.897, some big number is there. I'm giving this 2 as the other argument. Whatever you give inside the brackets is called as arguments. Okay, so you are giving an argument. First argument is the decimal value. Second argument is the number of places, decimal places where you want it to be reduced. This is an example. You have so many number of built-in functions which we, whenever we need, we use that. That's all. For almost all common functions, we'll be having this built-in functions. So when I put this round now, what I'll get? .99 because it is rounded off to 2 decimal digits. So round is just an example. Like round, you have so many other. We'll see one by one. For another one is absolute value of -17. You will get it as 17. Length of a string we have already seen, right? Length of a string, length of a is upper, is lower, and all those things we have already seen. These are all certain kind of built-in functions that we already have within the string class of Python. Okay, and it will accept only string inputs. For certain things, is upper will accept only string inputs. Right? So length you have max. Say suppose you wanted to find the maximum value, you have max function to get the maximum value in a list. You have a list here, max is equal to this thing, okay, and if I type max marks, I'll get the highest value in the list of marks. .75 is the highest value, okay. Similarly, you can use min also. Min, you will get the least value, min of marks. You will get the least value. Similarly, you can use the sum for finding out the sum in a list. Okay. Suppose I am giving a string A in this, then what happens? I am getting an error because it is not an integer, and string you cannot add. Right? Okay, so only string variables you can do like that. Same thing happens for the others also. Max. Is not supported because you have a string here. Once you remove the string and you use it as this one, you get it right. Okay, is that clear? Same thing, Okay, max means sorted marks. So sorted means you have ascending order and descending order. Sorted and reverse you have. You can sort this according to the marks. If I give you this as to be sorted marks, I get this in ascending order. Okay. You can reverse this also. The other thing what you can do, you can reverse this also using reverse function. So we will not be able to cover the entire span of functions because we have infinite. So whenever we have any requirement, we'll try to utilize that. Okay. So these are the examples of some of the examples of built-in functions. You have functions like map and zip. Okay, there are some functions that you may. So when I map float to marks, what happens is that all values in the marks will automatically be converted into floats. Okay, this will be the output. I put the output also here. Map means, when I put this as map, I'll get it to be say map float marks. So all will be converted to, then I have to print marks. Okay, now it's printing only the some k is equal to, then I'll put it as k. The reason is because it's printing again the I am printing the contents of the list. Actually, what is happening is that the object was printed as it is. Okay. The object is a map object. Map means I told you everything is it's object oriented, everything is objects. Right? So as such, I'm giving a function and the output of the function is the object of the same function. That's the reason why when I give it as simply print, it is not coming, but instead I wanted to convert it into list object and then print the contents of the list. That's why I got it now. Okay. Similarly, we have another function called a zip function. Okay. So you have to convert this here. Right? Now you have two lists. One I call it as branches and I call it as number of students. And when I give zip branch number of students, what happens is that you get a list connecting both these things. Okay, so I'll show you this how it comes. Instead of typing, I'm just copying this and I'm pasting it here. I may need to do some correction because okay, these two things. Okay, so I'm running this number underscore branches. Same model. I get a tuple of lists, a list of tuples. First value is this one, this is map this thing. Okay. Now it is very easy for me to access it. So it is very easy to use. When you use it, you get a tuple with the first list and the second list. Okay. Now if the numbers are not equal, you will get an error. So I'm giving here another one value. The length should be equal to u zip is what you will get the error. What is happening is that it is only connecting these two things, right? Whichever is remaining is left. Okay, so I've learned a lesson that what happens when you use zip is that only those whichever is same with the index it gets connected with a tuple and you get the list of all these tuples as the output. Okay, this is how you use built-in functions in Python. Very easy, just whatever you want you can do like that. Now see, now I'll be telling you what is that we need to do in so many cases. No, first thing is that we have so many packages in Python and we can import whichever is the package required for whichever purpose, right? We don't, we don't need to use the whole span of Python, all these things for everything. So we'll be selecting a few and then we'll be using that. Okay. Such one package is called as math. You have certain common packages. Strings are available. Sorry, not strings. Um, Math one, calendar is another one package that is available. You can import calendar, you can import date time, you can suppose you want to print the current time and all those things, you can use that package. There are so many other packages like NumPy, SkyPy, scientific computing. You have pandas, you have so much n number of packages, and we'll be importing and using whichever is the package required for us whenever it is required. Similarly, there is a random package. I think I already taught you about random package, right? So here in this example I have used a function inside the math package called a square root to find out. So to what I'm doing is that I'm trying to do Pythagoras theorem with two things: a square plus square root of a square plus b square. Okay, so a into a or a b square math dot square root. So there are so many functions in math. One among that is square root. Okay. Then I'll show you another one example. I don't want to show you the same example. This example, this PDF is already given to you now. So I'll show some different examples using packages. First thing I'll be doing is that import date time. Okay. Import time. Import date type. Okay. Now in this datetime.now will print the exact date and time as of now. Okay. You can format this date and time according to this. Suppose I want this to be like this. So what I'll do is that the arguments that it is going to take is percentage d space percentage month space percentage y. Okay. So now what it will do? Argument must be none or not. So when I wanted to format this, I can use this, say, what is that? So I'll check this out and I'll give you how to format the dates. Okay, that I will teach you in the next. Similarly, there is another package called as, now just this is an introduction to packages. No, import random. Random is another one package which is used to generate random values. So random dot rand, it will generate some values in between 1 to 100. Now it is generating 5. Next time I run this, it will generate another value. Okay. Okay. Integers. There is one random dot random also. Random dot random. Another one function. So it will generate any random number. It is not. It need not be an integer. Okay. So it will generate any random number. This random is having so many other functions, so many other random numbers will be generated. So random is another package in Python. So now we'll be seeing how to create user-defined function. Okay. Now I'm going to create a function to find out the capacitance of a capacitor. Very easy. We know that the capacitance of the capacitor is nothing but A by D. Now epsilon naught into A by D. Epsilon naught is a constant, right? So I've defined the value of epsilon naught to be 8.854 e raised to minus 12. So what I'll do, let me do this program and show you. I have defined this epsilon. We generally denote all this epsilon naught to be equal to 8.8. So if you do this, this indicates that you have epsilon naught to be defined as 8 point. You can even round it off, it is left. Next to what we have to do is that I am defining a function. Defining a function called as capacitance. It is taking two arguments. One will be the area and the other one will be the distance between the parallel plates, right? So distance. What is the capacitance? This is return epsilon naught into area by distance. Okay. It's better that you give it in brackets. So this epsilon naught and 1 capacitance are defined. Now I can find it out for any number of C1 is equal to, now I wanted to find it for the C1 is equal to capacitance of say 10 comma 1000. Okay, I'll get this value. I can change this to any other, say to 30 farads or something like that. I'll get, similarly I can do it for C2, C3 and so on. Each time I don't need to define the function. So user defined functions are those functions which perform a set of statements that is defined by the user so that the user need not keep repeating these statements n number of times. Okay, understood? It's a block of statements. So you can try this problem out, okay? And I will be teaching you what is NumPy and other packages. NumPy and SkyPy and all those things are very important packages. Once you start studying these packages, you will forget all the old ones very easily because you don't need to use many of these things. More easily you can do it, okay? That we will be learning as we go on. Now you can do these, you can try out these examples and then so these are the problems that you can do now. Write a Python program to calculate the values of the function y is equal to x square minus 1 for the x in the range 0 to 10 using functions. Okay, is that okay? Second, write a function to compute the first n Fibonacci numbers. Run the code and test it. Write a function to compute the sum of n complex numbers. Run the code, run and test it. Write a function to compute the factorial of an integer and just run and test it. Okay.